Hello, everyone. My name's Kevin, and I am your host for the Growth Journal here with Kevin. This is my very first video journal, and I have a Notion where I post all of my journal entries. So, today I wanted to cover a pretty trendy topic that I've seen come up on social media, and that is no buy or low buy. Now, the whole gist of it is essentially not buying as much as we usually do or not buying at all, things that are just completely non-essential. And I think this is a pretty good trend to follow. So we're gonna do a little deep dive into this and talk a little bit of what I think would be some good strategies to follow up on being successful within this trend. And I'll be giving it a shot myself. So I'll be participating. I'll be joining y'all on the journey. So welcome to my channel where I share um, growth mindset and ideas that will help us improve our well-being, and whether it's financial or health-wise, we're here to grow together, right? Anyway, I have my journal right here, and we're gonna get right into it. So the first strategy I want to talk about is canceling subscriptions. So this is a pretty effective one, just to begin with, especially if you don't know where to start or if you don't know what to start cutting out. I think this one is really good only because there's a lot of things that you could be paying for that you don't even know. Subscriptions are just predatory to begin with. A lot of them kind of rely on hoping that people don't remember they have them. So they design it in a way where they give you a certain trial period and then you try it out, but then it's happened to me a lot of times. I just forget to cancel the trial period, and then I'm not stuck using it. I'm stuck paying for it even though I'm not using it, which is really annoying. It's a huge waste of time and money to go back and have to cancel it. So to mitigate that, I like to purge my credit card and bank statements just to make sure I'm not paying for anything unnecessary, especially if it's recurring. So I'll make sure that I go through that, and if I find something that is recurring, I'll go ahead and axe it, and it's pretty satisfying. Now, I will be honest, some of these things are hard to cancel, and like I mentioned earlier, that's by design. It's hard to just go in and hit the cancel button. They don't make it easy for you, and that's because they don't want people to cancel. So please, just take the time to do that. It is so worth it, especially knowing and getting the satisfaction that you're not going to be paying an extra $10 to $25 for an HBO or Amazon subscription that you don't even use anymore. But that is the first strategy. Now, the second strategy is going to be, in my opinion, the most substantial because it kind of relies on food, right? Now, this strategy is just going to be eat at home. Go to the grocery store, eat at home. That's pretty much it. I don't think it can get any clearer than that, but I will kind of dive in and give my take on a couple of these things. Now, my generation, I mean, I'm 27 years old. I just started learning how to cook maybe a year ago, and I used to spend a lot of money eating out. And it wasn't the best for my health, and especially for my wallet. And I can remember a lot of times having maybe $100 in my checking account, and I had to like really think about it when I'm deciding to get a $30 Chipotle meal. And guess what? I still got the $30 Chipotle meal. But that's when I was a lot more foolish, but I've wised up to that now. The cost of eating out is huge nowadays. It's a lot bigger than even when I was doing it frequently, and that's just due to the simple fact that groceries have been skyrocketing, and the bulk material and ingredients needed to make these foods are extremely high right now in 2025. Oh, Happy New Year to everyone who thinks we're still in 2024. But yes, they're very high, and with that, premiums are added when you go to fast food or restaurants. So you're not only wasting your time waiting on your food, but you're also paying a pretty big premium on the food that you're buying anyway. So it's like a double whammy. I highly recommend against it, especially if you want to save money And if you're going to do a no buy, I highly, highly encourage and recommend that your no buy includes food. Because at this point, I feel like out of all the videos that I've seen, everyone's no buy is a little bit different. There is a YouTube channel called the No Buy Project. They make some pretty good videos about no buy. I'll link them in the description below, and hopefully you can learn something from those as much as I did. But going back to the topic of food and how expensive it is, I can give you an example of just how outrageous this topic is. About, I'd say maybe a couple months ago, I was talking to an old friend of mine that works out of an office in the city. So he has to commute to get into the city and commute back home. There's a ton of traffic, and his job is pretty demanding, and he's busy almost 12 hours out of the day. So he does not have enough time to cook. At least that's what he told me. He told me it's much more convenient for him to get fast food, whether it's like Carl's Jr., McDonald's, what's the other one, Jack in the Box, right? That's more convenient for him, you know, by going into the drive-through than going to the grocery store and cooking his own food. Now, I hate drive-throughs to begin with. I do not like them. I hate waiting in a line in a car. If I am gonna go to a fast food or restaurant, I'm gonna go in and order my damn food. I'm not gonna wait in a drive-through. And then almost 9 times out of 10 for me, they get my order wrong, and then I have to go in anyway, right? But that's beside the point. The point here is that a lot of people perceive fast food as a sort of convenience to making their own food at home. This could also just be an excuse for people not knowing how to cook. It's not a great excuse, but it is an excuse. Now, I think in this case, if you don't know how to cook, I highly recommend it. It helped me out a ton. It just helps your wallet a lot. So going back to the conversation I had with my friend, he told me that him and his girlfriend, they get food, and it averages them about $35 per meal. Now, I asked him a couple of questions. Okay, you know, how often are you eating out, like daily, and how much do you make at work, like roughly like every hour, you know, because he's salary. So he mentioned that he's making about $30 an hour, and every meal costs him about 35, and he eats about 2 times a day. He eats out. So that's an average of about $70 every day on just fast food, right? So I thought instantly in my head, I'm like, wow, okay, this is this is pretty bad. So I did the math. I'm not very good at math, by the way, but I did do the math. Now, if we get his average food spending per day, it's $70. Now, if we multiply that by 7, that's $490 a week. Now, if we were even just to typically me and my fiance, we eat about $120 worth of groceries every week. That's about more often than not. That's how much I pay at the grocery store, and we go once a week. So it's about $120. You can, I can't speak for everyone. I can live off of that, and that's just a fraction. That's like 1/4 of what he's spending, which is $490, right? So if you were to even just spend a fraction of that, he'd already instantly be saving money. So I did a little bit of more math, right? So let's be generous and allow for $200 a week, right? Let's say he's spending $200 a week. That's still a lot less than the 490. And let's say, you know, we divide that 200 by 7, that's $28.60, right? So let's get the $70 on average that he's spending per day, subtract the $28.60. That's $41 of savings each day, right? That's a lot. So not even, you know, just to talk about savings, but to go back to the point he made that it's convenient and he values his time. Okay, so let's say he makes $30 an hour, so that's what his time is worth to him, right? If we convert the $41.40 that he's saving every single day and correlating it to the $30 an hour that he gets paid hourly, This means that he would save a whole hour and 38 minutes of time each and every day. That's about 13 hours per week and 52 hours a month. So the point here is that eating out as a convenience is just an absolute lie, and it's not even close to being efficient when you're trying to save time and money. So bottom line, go to the grocery store, cook at home, or learn to cook at home, and do not eat out. I haven't even mentioned the health effects of eating like crap when you're eating fast food and at restaurants. So, just don't eat out if you're gonna take part in the no buy trend. And in general, it's a lot healthier to just not eat out. Now, strategy number 3. This one's pretty. It could be varied depending on who you are, what you do, what you like. So this strategy is de-influencing yourself and your hobbies, right? So I'm gonna go into a few different scenarios here. There's a few different things. Now I'm gonna start off with one of the most obvious ones, and that's what we see on social media. I'll use like the Stanley Cup craze that happened last year. And a lot of people tend to buy. I've fallen into this myself with cryptocurrency and other things that I've seen online and had FOMO, and I want to be part of that, right? It happens to the best of us. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but at the same time, this has been a huge problem over the last, I would say, after 2020. This is when this type of social media influencing and FOMO to certain, products and assets kind of, it really caught on fire, especially with how well the markets were doing and how much cryptocurrency increased. So I'm going to segue from talking about physical products, right? Like clothes, things we don't need. It's just a huge wave of consumerism that we've seen in the last few years. And then also going into the FOMO aspect of things, which are absolutely not even just draining money, but it's like a theft almost, right? And what I mean by that is all of these crypto scams that I've seen. I don't think there's anything wrong with crypto investing, but please be mindful and careful in those areas, because there's a lot of bad actors, in my opinion, of people that are pulling these rug pulls and stealing people's money. They convince people through social media and through influencing that they're not wasting their money, that they're investing, right? So whenever someone tells you to invest in something, be very careful of that, right? And this doesn't even just go to crypto, right? Like some of the best examples of crypto, by the way, are SafeMoon and FTX, which were considered to be good and safe crypto investments at the time. But I'll let y'all look that up. It was just an absolute disaster. I'm sure a lot of the people that know about crypto know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you're an aspiring and avid new crypto investor, please do your due diligence and look up those currencies that really made people lose billions of dollars, and make sure you learn from those so you don't fall into the same trap as they did, right? So moving on from that, I really do want to talk about other aspects of spending money, right? So it doesn't even have to be like crypto or things that you see on social media. It can also be like hobbies, right? These can be your personal hobbies or hobbies that you have with your friends, right? Whether it's going out to do some dirt biking and stuff like that. I don't do that, but I know those things can be expensive. So that if you're looking at buying new equipment or gear, that can also play a big part of it. And I can say for myself, I'm a guitarist, or I have been for the last 13 years or more of my life. And I have spent upwards of about 10 grand on just music equipment, like my guitars back there, or whether it's amplifiers and pedals and stuff like that. I'm trying to chase the perfect sound, and I know a lot of musicians know what I'm talking about. we try to chase that tone, and it ends up wasting a lot of money because we're buying gear and equipment that it's not essential. We don't need it. We just want it, right? And this can go into other aspects, right? For example, being a content creator, right? One of my goals creating this YouTube channel was to not spend a single dollar on it until I'm actually making ad revenue or monetization from it, right? So that's my goal. I haven't spent anything on this yet, and I don't plan to for a long time. I have 0 subscribers. By the way, thank you for subscribing. Thanks. I'm really grateful for my 0 subscribers. It's awesome. Like, how many people could say they have 0 subs? But going back to the point, just be really careful in choosing what you're getting yourself into, and make sure that if it's a hobby that requires investments, make sure you make those tactically or tactfully, and it makes sense to get what you're getting. So a mantra I love to live by is work with what you have, especially for content creation. As long as you have a phone with a camera and microphone and an internet connection, you are perfectly fine. You can do a lot with that. I'm just recording on my phone, and I have some notes right here to help me with this conversation. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Another thing that falls into this category are collectibles, right? Me, myself, I've collected Yu-Gi-Oh cards since elementary school. There's nothing wrong with collecting things, but you need to be careful about what you're collecting, right? A lot of the things that are deemed collectibles can be falsely identified as investments, right? Because you could have a card that's worth, a certain amount of money one day, and then the next month or so it's worth a lot more because there's more demand for it, right? And what I'm trying to say here is that these aren't investments because they don't really have intrinsic value. Like, let's say, for example, a stock or, precious metals or something like that, right? That have value because of what they are, and not just because of the speculation and hype around it. So just be very careful about those things. So other good examples are like Squishmallows, Funko Pops, Magic the Gathering cards. A lot of those things just have no intrinsic value, and the only thing that determines the value is how much other people want them, and that's pretty much it. They have no physical value, they have no industrial value, they have, nothing else really could do with it other than just collect it. So just be careful about those things. They're not sound investments. Should you not collect them? I'm not going to tell you not to. I think we should all collect things that make us happy, but be very mindful about what you're collecting, why you're choosing to collect it, and how much of your wealth and your capital you're putting into these things, because it's a slippery slope. It can be very damaging to make habits out of buying a lot of these things, right? So that's my spiel on de-influencing. And I do want to mention, I know I got a little bit preachy here, and I really don't try to be preachy at all in my journal entries, but I do want to drive the point that the advice I'm giving is from personal experience, and it's not because I want to be on my high horse. I really just want people to be able to relate to my experience and learn from it, because it's something that I've gone through myself. I've gone through points in my life where I had no financial knowledge. I made a lot of very poor financial decisions. So I'm definitely in no room to talk. And, me talking about this doesn't make me better than you. So I don't want to make it feel like that. I just want to come from a place where I'm offering you my advice and my experience, and maybe you can take something out of that and use it for your growth. Now, I started living a lot more frugally the last couple of years, and it's been a lot of gradual changes, just learning how to do things for myself instead of paying for services or products that are meant to be, like, for example, Uber Eats, DoorDash. That's a cardinal sin for me now. I would never order through DoorDash. Just a high amount of fees. And just being able to be independent and more autonomous of your decisions and your lifestyle can lead to a lot of savings, because you'll realize there's a lot of products that kind of advertise themselves or sell themselves as a solution, but it's something that you have to keep on paying over and over and over, right? So whether it's a service or a product, if you could do it yourself, just do it yourself, especially with cooking. I think that's the biggest one that we can really all take something from. If you learn to cook, you'll save so much money, so much time. And I think that's the most important strategy. Also, just being financially sound, make sure that you're putting money in your retirement and investment accounts, and you have some money for emergency fund in your bank, and just making sure that you have that protective moat. So if anything were to happen, you'd be in a much better spot if something actually, rather than not having the funds to cover anything like a car breaking down, or God forbid something happens and you get sick, and you might need some extra cash. So it's always good to just have it on the side. But yeah, I hope this all helps, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's journal entry. It's my first one. I hope I can do more. It's one of my goals to continue doing these. I have other journal entries that I posted on my channel, but those are there's no video behind those. It's just me talking, and you can see the text. It's actually pretty nice. And if you want to read my other ones, you can read them on Notion. I'll link it down here below. I'm also going to link the Growth Project. No, not the Growth Project. The No Buy Project down below. And I also will recommend checking out Caleb Hammer. Most of you have probably heard of him. Some of you might not like him. Some of you might. But I've learned a lot from watching his show, because I felt like I was one of those people that he'd come up and interview, and I could relate a lot to that show. And it's because I was in a pretty bad financial spot before, but because I've really taken the time to look at myself and be able to make the right decisions, I've been able to get myself to a much better financial spot than I was a couple years ago. So with that being said, if you got something out of this, I really appreciate you subscribe, and share with someone who will also get something out of this. And please be sure to let me know what you plan on not buying anymore and what your plans are for this year. With that being said, have a good one.